Today, I'd like to continue the discussion on kind of what does deglobalization actually mean. I mean, we say it's supply chain, we're redoing them. Other people say we're fragmenting. The question is not are we deglobalizing, but what are we going to look like when we get to the other side? Because that is going to determine how we make our own investments. So there's a video out on the World Economic Forum, and you can go there. It's all free. You can watch this. She's very interesting. But to me, what she says here is none of the data, not what we believe, not what we want the world to look like, but none of the data shows the end of globalization is over. There is a degree of fragmentation, as she's saying. What I want us to think about here is that deglobalization is never really going to end because there are commodities in certain spots that we're going to have to go and get them. People will make different things. People have different technological prowess. So, and plus, we've been moving goods for 70 years across the world. I don't think that's going to end. It's going to be much different, I believe. And so what do we look for today to determine what we're going to look like? Let's say, I think it's going to be 10-year transition. So in the Financial Times today, GM raises its investment from $650 million up to basically $1 billion buying Lithium America, or a portion of Lithium America, plus their lithium for the next 20 years. But I think that the first line of the article kind of sums up what I am perceiving is going on, what I think the narrative is. And it says that they're spending $1 billion as it seeks to secure long-term supply. Look at our last video on the MSP. 27 countries come together to secure their rare earth minerals. Everyone's looking to secure. When the Russians cut off the gas to the Germans, I was talking to my brother, who's a real climate change guy, and so am I, by the way. And I said, believe it or not, that this action by the Russians will be the greatest push to countries for alternative energy. Because alternative energy tends to be solar, right? And what that's going to be is that it's in your country and you can secure it. Now, it's not going to be good enough. But in other words, we need to think of energy as a portfolio of different energies, from solar to wind to oil to gas. There's many things out there that we can, nuclear. So you have to think of it as one part of the portfolio. My belief, as soon as the Russians cut off the gas, was that all alternative energy was going to become a bigger and bigger part of the portfolio of countries. And you also notice, we went 40 years or so with no nuclear. How many nuclear deals do you see are being declared almost every single day, including this morning? I think was it Microsoft who's going to do it, or Amazon? Amazon's going to build all the nuclear power plants. So here's all the stuff on the company that they bought into. It's Thacker Pass. It's going to do 800,000 batteries a day. They get first dibs on all the lithium for 20 years and then on 38% of the lithium for the next 20 years. And again, it says down the bottom, this is from GM, the need to secure battery metals has pushed car makers, including GM and Ford, to enter into supply deals with producers. But where you're seeing they're doing this for the EVs, I want to point out to you that this is for every industry, every company. The EVs stick out because, things are being produced. We weren't paying attention. Now we are. And so we're realigning our supply chains right away. But all the companies are doing this. So what does this mean to us? when we look at the investment world today, it's no more looking at who makes it the cheapest anywhere, right? That's what we did for 40 years. Whoever made it the cheapest, that's where we went. We hollowed out our own industries, but it happened across the world. We were not the only ones that did this. And now that's reversing. But notice what the difference is. It's not like, what are we going to go buy the end product? We're now saying that we need to control, to secure the entire supply chain of every single part for what we're making. Because whatever you're making, if someday China says you can't have it, and it's a part in your product, you're not making it anymore. So the world has now changed. You see the governments working with the corporations to secure and control their entire supply chain. And the interesting thing, I think, what I'm seeing at least, is that it's becoming regionalized. Anybody who's doing any reading today, if you go down and into South America, American corporations are down there in force, okay? Getting the commodities, getting everything, right? Because it's close to home. This is what it's going to be in the future. So, we have to rethink how we now look at a corporation. We actually have to say, where are you? And one of the biggest examples in my mind is Apple, because Apple is in China, and I know they just started building their first chips with TSMC down in Arizona for their phones, but there's a lot of other stuff that goes on in China where they make everything, and they're going to be challenged, I believe. So that's one of the narratives I'm watching, is how does Apple solve their issue, right? Which is greater than most, but still great, right? So what do you think? Like and follow, and certainly make any comments you want.